I left off where I said I stand there looking at both my parents, my mother and my father, and felt like, wow, I've already thought that my mother didn't love me because of the experiences that I've been through with her. And now hearing my dad say that, I was thinking, well, if he's denying me, then he don't love me either, because he didn't take the time to do his due diligence like a mature parent would do. However, when he said that, I ran away crying. He saw that I was crying, but I ran away and I went to my stepfather, and he was the one who comforted me. He said, go into the car and sit down, and he went in there and he seemed to be very sad for me. I never forgot that. He said, don't worry, Kadisha. It's okay. He told me, do not worry. It's going to be okay. And I was crying. And he's like, he's never a man of many words. He was always very quiet and humble. He really don't speak a lot. But he just said again, it's okay, it's gonna be okay. Don't worry. He's like, I understand. Once again, thank you so much to my stepfather. And in my mind I was saying, yes, it's going to be okay. But I was just thinking like, all this time, and I was 5 years old, 5.5, went to Oneness Plaza, looking at his pictures all around me, and hearing about him, and seeing him on the big picture, listening to his music, all these things, just all these flashbacks, the teasing that I was getting at school, just everything. That was making me cry even harder. I was very hurt because I was like, I've been dreaming of the moment to meet my dad, and it wasn't the experience I was hoping for. I know I would have been a daddy's girl. I know that. I know that because I felt like he and I had so much connected. I wanted to tell him about all my poems at that time that I wrote. I wanted to sing for him. I wanted to do all these things. And I wanted him to know that I wanted to be a singer too. And I wanted to be a fashion designer. I wanted to tell him all of my little things that I wanted to do. I wanted to tell him I wanted to have a restaurant. All these little things that I was dreaming of. At 10 years old, I already knew what I wanted to do. And I've always was telling myself, I'm gonna prove them wrong. I'm gonna let him see, and so at that time I sat there in that back of that car and I cried, and I was thinking to myself, and I listened to my stepfather's words, it's going to be okay. I understand. It's going to be okay. And he was just shaking his head because I know that he felt it. He felt my pain. He understood. My mother and my father were still in the yard going on until Mr. Holmes decided to come on and say, hey, call to her and tell her, let's go. It's okay. And he went for her, and she started to cry on the way down. And I was just sitting there, and I told myself, I have to be strong. I have to be strong. I keep telling myself, you have to be strong. You have to be strong. I drove in silence all the way home back to St. Elizabeth. And I was saying, it's okay. But one thing I told myself, I was like, I don't want nobody knowing who my dad is. I was like, my new life, me starting a new school, I don't want nobody knowing who my dad is. So every time that I went out with my mother and she's trying to say, I was just always just like trying to say, don't say who my dad is. But she's always saying, you know who the daughter is, you know who the daughter is, you know, whose dad is her father, and telling people. And so I started to not want to go nowhere with my mother because she's always going to tell who my dad is. And I don't want nobody to know. After that experience, I was just like, I don't care. I just don't want to talk about it. I don't want people to know. I don't want to have to explain myself. And I don't want to pretend like I'm happy about the situation, because I was not. So I chose to not speak of it at all to anyone. I was enrolled into Santa Cruz All Age, and I started school there. And this was a different environment altogether. I would ride down with my stepfather to school every day, and I would go to his garage and wait for him and go home with him in the evenings, me and my siblings. I told myself I'm gonna do my best to thrive, and I didn't want nobody at that school to know who my dad is. But yes, one day somebody knew who my dad was, because somebody else who knew my mom, whose children came, they're like, from the same neighborhood, there's this boy named Jermaine. His mom, Betty, she used to be helpmate to my mother, and her son was going to the same school. And he knew who my dad was. His family knew who my dad was. And I asked, don't say nothing. I don't want the attention, and I just didn't want to go through being teased anymore. I didn't want to go through any of that anymore. So my first year was cool. I did get into fights, not as much as I did with my old school, but yes, I got into a few fights still, because there's always someone trying to test my fate. And yes, I've always been that karate cat too. Bruce Lee, and defended myself and come out always winning my battles. But on this journey, I tried my best to forget about my dad. I focused my energy on just writing and singing, and told myself that one day I was going to prove myself, and one day he's going to want to get to know who I am. And for now, I'm going to move on with my life and not think about it anymore. I still do rock out when I hear my favorite songs by him, because I loved my dad's music. I loved every single song. I could hear them playing in my head, and I saw myself dancing. I couldn't help myself, because at the end of the day, reggae night, we come together when the evening's bright. Oh, 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 oh. And I was like, jam it, ram it. I love that song. And I used to love sitting here in limbo, Da 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 da. Sitting here in limbo. Da 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 da. I still get goosebumps from that song. The rebel in you will touch the rebel in me, and the rebels we be, it's gonna set us free. That song, when I heard it first, I cried. Because I was like, you're singing a song that your daughter is connecting to and wanted to connect to you. But at the end of the day, I love him. I still love him no matter what. Like I do love my mother no matter what. And I will always give them respect no matter what. But my story is my story. And that's all that is.